The stage lights glowed like a beacon in the dimly lit auditorium, casting elongated shadows on the curtains that swayed gently at the edges of the stage. I sat in the back row, a silent spectator in a sea of empty chairs, my eyes fixed on the center of the stage where Lena, my wife, stood poised and radiant. Her cheeks were flushed with excitement, or perhaps it was just the stage makeup, her lips moving gracefully as she recited lines from a script she had been rehearsing for weeks. "You're going to be great," I had reassured her earlier, my hand on her shoulder, feeling the tension in her muscles. "I need this, Alex," she had replied, her eyes gleaming with a mix of fear and ambition. This could be my big break. And I believed her. I wanted to believe her. As Lena's monologue transitioned smoothly into an intense dialogue with her scene partner, a tall man with a rugged charm, I leaned forward, intrigued by their chemistry. The man, whom I later learned was named Tom, matched Lena's intensity beat for beat, his gaze never wavering from her face. Their scene ended with a charged moment, their faces inches apart, the tension palpable even to me, sitting dozens of feet away. The director clapped, breaking the spell, and Lena stepped away, her cheeks now definitely redder than before. "Excellent, Lena," the director exclaimed, scribbling notes on his clipboard. "Tom, well done. We'll discuss adjustments in a moment." I clapped too, my hands automatically coming together, though a seed of unease had started to sprout in my gut. Something about the way Tom looked at Lena didn't sit right with me. As the other hopefuls took their turns on the stage, Lena and Tom retreated to the wings. Curiosity overcame me, and I decided to get closer, under the pretense of grabbing a cup of water from the table set up nearby. From my new vantage point, I could see them talking, their heads close together, laughing softly. Their intimacy irked me. I strained to hear their whispers over the hum of the auditorium's air conditioning. "Just a little rehearsal magic," Tom was saying, his hand brushing against Lena's arm. Lena giggled, a sound I knew too well, usually reserved for our private moments. "You really think it went well?" "Absolutely. With me helping you, you're a shoo-in." The words were innocent enough, but it was the way he said them, suggestive, insinuating. My heart pounded against my ribcage as I watched Tom lean in, his lips brushing against Lena's ear, and her not pulling away. A hot rush of fury swept over me. I felt betrayed, humiliated, even before anything overt had happened. The seeds of revenge began to sprout alongside my burgeoning anger. I needed to know more, to see how far this would go. I retreated to my original seat, my mind racing with dark thoughts. As the auditions wrapped up, Lena found me, her smile bright. "So? How did I do?" "You were mesmerizing," I said, the truth mingling with the bitterness in my tone. She beamed, unaware of my turmoil. "Let's celebrate? Dinner at Marco's?" "Sure," I replied, the word tasting like ash in my mouth. A celebration. As we left the auditorium together, Lena linked her arm through mine, chatting animatedly about her performance. But my mind was elsewhere, plotting, planning. I would bring Tom down, and if Lena was really cheating, she would not escape unscathed either. I would make sure of that. Marco's was bustling, the ambient lighting and soft jazz creating a cozy, almost too perfect setting for a celebration that felt anything but joyous to me. Lena chattered on, her enthusiasm undimmed by the subtle chill in my responses. As she sipped her wine, her eyes sparkled with dreams of stages and spotlights. "You really think you'll get the part?" I asked, stirring my drink absent-mindedly. Her smile faltered for a moment. "I hope so. Tom thinks I'm in with a good chance. He said he'd put in a good word for me with the director." The mention of Tom's name tightened my grip on the glass. "Tom seems very supportive." "He is." Lena's naivete, or was it feigned innocence, grated on me. "He's been in the industry for years. Knows what it takes." I nodded, masking my brewing storm. Must be good to have friends like that. Our meal progressed with intermittent small talk, but my mind was elsewhere, weaving through the threads of suspicion and betrayal. As we were finishing our dessert, a familiar face approached our table. It was Michael, a friend who worked as a talent agent, often a purveyor of industry gossip. "Lena, Alex. Great to see you here. Celebrating something special?" Michael's booming voice filled the space around us. Lena beamed. "Hopefully a new role." "Ah, fantastic. With that Tom guy, right? I heard about the auditions. He's a slick one, eh?" Michael winked, unaware of the landmines he was treading on. "What do you mean by slick?" I asked, my tone a bit more eager than intended. Michael chuckled, leaning in. "Well, you know. Tom's got a reputation. Helps people get parts, but always seems to want something in return. Rumors, you know how it is." Lena laughed nervously, glancing at me. "Oh, that's just how the industry is sometimes, right? All about who you know." Michael nodded, his eyes flicking to me, sensing the tension. "Absolutely. Anyway, don't let me keep you. Good luck, Lena. Alex, take care, buddy." As he walked away, Lena's hand found mine. "Alex, you don't believe that, do you? About Tom, I mean." Looking into her eyes, I saw the flicker of doubt, the hint of fear. "I want to trust you, Lena. Just be careful, okay?" She nodded, squeezing my hand. "Always." But as we left the restaurant, the cold air felt like a slap against my face. Trust was not something I could offer freely, not anymore. I needed to know more about Tom, about what he wanted from Lena, and just how far he'd go to get it. The drive home was silent, each of us lost in our thoughts. I dropped Lena off and told her I needed to clear my head. She seemed understanding, or perhaps relieved. As she disappeared into our apartment, I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in a long time. "Hey, it's Alex. I need a favor. Can you get me information on someone?" The voice on the other end was smooth, cautious. "Depends on who." "Tom Baxter. I need to know everything. What he's up to, who he's really helping, and at what cost. Give me a few days. I'll see what I can dig up." Hanging up, I felt the first real spark of action ignite within me. If Tom was using Lena's dreams against her, I would expose him. And if Lena was in too deep, I'd have to pull her back before she fell completely. The game was on, and I was no longer just a spectator. 3 days had crawled by since my call for information on Tom. Lena remained oblivious to my investigation, her days consumed by callbacks and her evenings by rehearsals. Her phone buzzed constantly, messages that she guarded like precious secrets. Finally, my phone lit up with the anticipated callback. I stepped out onto our balcony, the chill evening air bracing against my skin as I answered. "Got something for you, Alex." The voice was gruff, laden with implications. "What is it?" My voice was tense, my grip on the phone tight. "Tom's been involved in some shady deals. Not just casting couch stuff, but real financial manipulations. Seems he promises roles in exchange for favors, money, mostly. There's talk he's swindled a few hopefuls out of serious cash." My stomach churned. Anything directly linking him to Lena? Not directly. But he's been seen at some high-stakes poker games, throwing around a lot of money. The kind of money an actor like him shouldn't have. I ended the call with thanks and a promise to meet later. The information was both a relief and a burden. Lena might not be complicit in any financial schemes, but she was still under Tom's influence. I went back inside, finding Lena on the couch, her script in her lap but her attention on her phone. Seeing me, she quickly switched off the screen and smiled. "Everything okay?" she asked, an edge of nervousness in her tone. "Yeah, just work stuff. How's the script coming along?" "It's good. Tom's been a great help." The name dropped like a lead weight between us. "Lena, we need to talk about Tom." Her brow furrowed. "What about him?" "I've heard things. He might not be the mentor you think he is." Lena's defense was immediate. Alex, are you doing this because you're jealous? Jealous? I paused, considering. Maybe. But it's more than that. I'm worried about you. People are saying he's involved in some bad business. Lena stood up, her eyes flashing. And you just believe them? Without asking me? Should I need to ask if my wife is getting cheated or used? Her face softened, hurt. I thought you trusted me. I want to, Lena. But something doesn't feel right. Lena paced the room, then stopped, turning to face me. Let's go see him. Now. We'll confront him together. You'll see there's nothing to worry about. Her determination caught me off guard. Now? It's almost midnight. Yes, now. If it will put your mind at ease, we'll do it. Minutes later, we were in the car, the city lights blurring past as we drove to the address Lena had for Tom. The drive was silent, each lost in our thoughts. Arriving at a modest apartment building, we found Tom's unit on the 3rd floor. Lena knocked, her hand steady, her jaw set. Tom opened the door, surprise etching his features. Lena? And Alex? This is unexpected. We need to talk, Tom. Lena's voice was firm, leaving no room for refusal. Tom stepped aside, letting us in. His place was a stark contrast to his public persona, messy, with signs of hurried living. What's this about? Tom asked, his voice smooth, too smooth. It's about your side deals, Tom. The games, the money. What are you really offering, Lena? Tom laughed, a sound devoid of humor. Who's been filling your head with stories, Alex? I stepped forward, the pieces falling into place, the danger of the situation settling in. I know enough. And I'm not letting you drag her down with you. Tom's expression hardened. You think you can threaten me? I've helped her more than you ever could. Lena's voice broke through. Enough. Tom, tell us the truth. That's all we want. Tom looked between us, the facade finally cracking. Fine. You want the truth. Let's all sit down. It's a long story. As we settled, the tension palpable, I knew this confrontation would change everything. I was ready to protect Lena, no matter what truths the night would unearth. The air in Tom's apartment was thick with tension as we all settled into the mismatched chairs he dragged around his small coffee table. Tom poured himself a drink, his hand steady despite the intensity of our gazes on him. He took a deep breath and met my eyes first, then Lena's. Look, I know what this looks like, but it's not what you think, Tom began, his voice softer than I'd ever heard it. Yes, I've been involved in games, and yes, there's money changing hands. But it's not what you think. Lena leaned forward, her eyes narrowed. Then explain. Make us understand. It started a couple of years ago, Tom confessed, swirling the drink in his glass. I was broke, really broke. Couldn't land a role, and the bills were piling up. Then I met a guy, Marco, at one of these underground poker games. He offered me a way to make quick money. A gambling ring? I interjected, my voice cold. More than that, Tom continued. Marco had connections, investors who liked to bet on young talents in the industry. They'd fund the lifestyles of promising actors in exchange for a cut from their future earnings. And you brought Lena into this? I accused, my anger rising again. Tom held up a hand. I didn't. That was never my intention. I genuinely believe in Lena's talent. I thought I could help her, get her the role she deserved, without involving her in the rest of it. Lena's voice trembled slightly. And the money you've been spending? From the games, yes. But I never took a cent from Lena. I wouldn't. I sat back, the pieces clicking into place, yet the picture still didn't look clean. So why not tell us before? Why the secrecy? Because it's illegal, Alex. I was protecting myself, sure, but I was protecting Lena too. If this gets out. the door suddenly burst open, slamming against the wall with a force that made us all jump. Two men stepped in, their suits crisp, their expressions grim. The older one, with salt and pepper hair, spoke first. "Tom Baxter, you need to come with us. We have a few questions about your involvement with Marco's operations." Tom stood slowly, his defeat evident. He glanced at Lena, a silent apology in his eyes, then at me. I never wanted it to come to this. As the men escorted Tom out, Lena rushed to him, grabbing his arm. "Tom, I didn't know. I'm sorry." He gave her a sad smile. "Just be careful, Lena. This industry, it's not just about talent." After they left, the room felt oppressively empty. Lena turned to me, tears brimming in her eyes. "Alex, Save it," I said softly, though not unkindly. "Let's just go home." As we drove back in silence, the weight of the night's revelations hung heavy between us. When we arrived, Lena paused before getting out of the car, her voice barely a whisper. "Alex, why did you really push this? What were you looking for?" I sighed, the truth bitter as I admitted it. I thought I was losing you. To him, to the industry. I needed to pull you back from something I didn't understand. Lena nodded, a sad smile touching her lips. "And now?" "Now, I think we need to focus on us. Forget the industry for a while. Maybe start afresh, somewhere new." She considered this, then nodded slowly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe it's time to find a new dream, together." As we walked up to our apartment, the early morning sun began to crest the horizon, casting long shadows and a new light on our path forward. What started as a mission to expose and perhaps punish had led us to a crossroad in our lives. Now, with the truth laid bare and the artifices stripped away, we could begin to rebuild, not just our trust, but our very lives. And in that new day's light, I realized that sometimes the truth doesn't just set you free, it leads you to where you truly need to be.